share this. Oh, I'm going to record. All right, we're recording. All right, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us here at Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. We are here for our monthly Lunch and Learn networking event. And I would love to just share with you a little bit about who we are and what we do in case this is your first time experiencing us here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. I just want to say we are here to embrace a virtual world in 2021. We're here to make connections, conversations, referrals, meet new people, collaboration partners, and all of those win-win opportunities that happen when you're part of a network, a community. And let's see here, our philosophy is ditch the pitch. We're here to connect, collaborate, cultivate conversations consistently. And if you do that over time, you will build that know, like, and trust factor and grow your business. I want to share with you that we just launched our co-hosting opportunity. So if you are a business owner, small business owner, entrepreneur, and you would like to expand your market reach, we have co-hosting opportunities. It's your face, your voice, your business in front of an audience. So reach out to me if you'd like to co-host virtual networking events here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. And we've got several upcoming events, and I just want you to know we'd love for you to join us to celebrate International Women's Day. We actually created a week-long event versus an all-day summit, so you can tap in daily for 1 hour and hear and learn from beautiful faces around the world of women in business who are actually impacting their local communities. We're going to be celebrating, empowering, networking, and educating with women around the world. So come and join us and celebrate International Women's Day with us. I don't know if you guys are new to Clubhouse or not, but we're on Clubhouse at Beautiful Faces. If you are, please share your handle below or in the chat box so that we can connect with one another on Clubhouse. And if you'd like to be highlighted on our podcast program, I'd love to interview you at Beautiful Faces Going Places on our podcast show. This coming Friday, we have virtual networking hosted by Natalie Reeder, A Niche of Nature. You can register on our website, beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com and or Eventbrite. That's where all of our events are listed. And today we are all here to experience and talk about and learn from the best of the best, the entrepreneurial journey. So today's special speaker presentation is by motivational speaker, author, business and life coach, Melissa Kirkpatrick. She has years of experience as a teacher, educator, and a golf course owner, operator. She actually has, and through her experience, years of experience as being an educator and a golf course operator, business owner, she has actually taken her experiences and linked the game of golf to the game of business and the game of life. So she is here to share her insights on the entrepreneurial journey. So please help me welcome Melissa Kirkpatrick. Yay!
There we go. Thanks, Carol. So I'm super excited to be here. I know a lot of you, I'm familiar with everyone, I believe, in the room today, which is exciting. And I just wanted to really offer you an opportunity to take a moment to express yourself about the entrepreneurial journey. And we're going to have some hot seat coaching or questions, and you can put them in the chat. But let me just go ahead, because the teacher in me makes me think we need to put some slides up, right? Because that's just what you do. And it's always good to have a reference point. So let me grab those real quick. My computer always wants to take me back to my main screen, which I have no idea why. All right, so there we go. Can we see that, Carol? We good? All right. So the entrepreneurial journey is all about the good, the bad, the ugly. And today we're going to talk about the ugly, because we're really good about talking about the good. And sometimes we'll share a little bit on the bad, but it's the ugly that oftentimes we forget. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Repeat after me. Being an entrepreneur is hard. And I think that's the first place that we really hesitate to even give ourselves permission to say it's hard. small business, entrepreneur, in career, CEO, CFO, COO, whatever it is, it's hard. And it's okay because we get to later on pick our hearts. When I first thought about a business idea like you did, you created this space, right? You're open for business. You hung out your shingle, you set up the website, and you said, let the journey begin. And that's what we all think. Sometimes those ways of creating a business feels really good in alignment. It's just when we get into the groove of it and start doing the things, the customers don't show up, the business isn't coming in as quick as you need it, the bank account's going down faster than you can replenish it. And those are the places when we recognize that maybe I'm not enough and I'm really not good enough to run this business, and this self-doubt and fear and concern and what will other people think, and why did I even think that I wanted to do this? And then you look at other people and they say, how's your business going? And you go, oh, it's wonderful and great, and man, it is awesome. You know, being an owner and operator of a golf course, and Amy can vouch for this, people walk in and they're like, Melissa's the most luckiest person in the world. She has 2 golf courses and she gets to golf every day and she gets to travel and she just gets to do whatever and drink beer and life is grand. But underneath there was this crying, this feeling of, oh my gosh, I didn't realize when it rains on Father's Day weekend, you lose so much revenue. And I didn't realize when your cooler goes down and all your beer is now skunked, that you've just spent thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I didn't know there were assholes out on the golf course that were just tearing my stuff up and being disrespectful, right? I didn't promote that. I didn't show that, but I was living that. And that's where I understand coaching other people on their journey is about really aligning yourself with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that to me is what's elevated my ability to be more successful, to get into really business and life coaching, to rebrand myself and to step in and say, here I am, I want to help you. And the first thing to debunk your thoughts and feelings is that the same thing you're comparing yourself with others, they're comparing you as well. So even when I was successful in the golf course business, I looked at other people being more successful, but come to find out they were experiencing the same struggles that I was having. Even in my business of coaching now, it's the same thing. I feel like other people are way ahead of me. Carol and I, we look at each other and we're like, is she further ahead? Am I further ahead? Who's further ahead? You know, it's just nature. It just makes us, we're in comparison because we're taught that. We compete and we do want to do good. But now when we can rise together, when we can have these open conversations, we start to realize that let's focus together on the progress that we've made, not how far that you have to go. It's about how far you've already come. When you can start just doing that, oftentimes you'll realize, like the people climbing Mount Everest, they weren't thinking, am I at the top? Am I at the top? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, they had to calibrate themselves each step of the way. But when they look down and they're like, holy cow, I'm halfway there, that's when they could continue to progress and move forward. So let yourself know that you are enough and you are good enough, but we all have that feeling. And a spoiler alert here, people, we ain't playing checkers now. This is you, entrepreneur, small business owner. You are in the game of chess. And if y'all watch what was the Queen's Gambit? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I played chess when I was younger, but I didn't play it like 5 steps ahead. I was always like 1 move ahead. I didn't realize there was so much strategy. So when you think about your business and what you're creating, even your life, look at it in form of not checkers, but about chess. Checkers, we're just trying to get to the other side of the board, right? And get our king and move on, right? That's exciting. But now we've signed up for this entrepreneur thing, right? It's hard, but we're going to do it anyway. So then what happens is we're not talking about certain things. And this is where we get real. I've identified this not only with my clients, but even in my own experience. First thing is failure, the word failure. We don't even want to think that's a possibility, but deep down inside, that's what we're experiencing. We're fearing that we're going to fail. And I want to tell you, it's okay because you learn your best lessons when that happens. If something didn't go as planned, the launch didn't go, the client didn't sign on, it rained Father's Day weekend, that's a setback, but you can actually find a way to navigate that and make it your stepping stone rather than your setback. Failure oftentimes is where people say, I'm done, I'm checking out. But this is the entrepreneur's way of saying, I'm not going to let failure define me. I'm going to allow it to push me forward. Then there's that fear that comes in. Yes, you're going to mess up and it's okay. It's all a part of the learning. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. You don't have to embrace it in the sense of that it's scary. You embrace it in, how can I learn from this? Why am I scared? What is it I can do differently? And then we look at confused. Boy, everybody wants to tell you how to run your business, right? I can't tell you how many people came in and wanted to tell me how to run the golf course. And that's okay, because from their perspective, they had it all figured out. They didn't realize you had to invest money or time or get the resources, but they knew what would make it better. And so when we receive advice or suggestions or recommendations from other people, align it with what's in service to you. You don't have to take it all. Just like today, what I'm sharing with you, you don't have to take all of this to be true for you, but just look for one or two gold nuggets that's going to maybe change the trajectory of how you're running your business, how you're showing up as an entrepreneur, because that's what I like to do. It's all about you figuring out how you're going to play the game of life and entrepreneurship and business. It's just those who you come in contact with can help you maybe advance quicker, because we're identifying ways that you hadn't thought about, that you haven't tried on, that you hadn't experienced. And what about this exhaustion? Man, we thought getting out of that 9 to 5 was the best thing we could ever do. And oh my gosh, we are in 24/7. WTF. This to me was when I was thinking about work when I went to bed and thinking about it when I got up and all throughout the day and just trying to figure it out and doing it Monday through Sunday. This is where the exhaustion can take over. We need to talk about it. How can we offload some of our responsibilities through delegation? How can we self-care? How can we take a weekend trip down to Florida maybe? The exhaustion is real, but it's finding ways to take that out of your day-to-day experience. Exhaustion is no fun. And so that is where, again, what are other people doing? How are they doing it? Now, I know another thing is we can become very paralyzed when we start having the fear of failure and the confusion, the exhaustion. And oftentimes that paralyzed looks like you're gaining weight, you have bad relationships, you start having money problems. You know, for me in the business of golf course, I recognized that I was paralyzed in some context of the success and the responsibility. So I turned to alcohol. I thought that was a great way to go numb and unconscious, because that to me was something that I witnessed other people in my family do. So that must be the way to do it. But I also have talked to my clients that are very health conscious. And you know what they do to go numb and unconscious is they get on the treadmill and run 5 miles, or they go out and run a track for 10 miles. I didn't know that was a thing, but it makes sense. Whatever you know to be true that can support you, that's what you do more of, because you want to ignore or tune out to all the other things that are getting in our ways. Oh, am I going too fast for you? Are you keeping up? Have you experienced some of this in your own journey, in your own entrepreneurial journey? But we're going to save the day, because, you know, I can't just leave you hanging. So first, we're going to pull back these curtains, and this is where it starts. This is when you start accepting the ever-changing journey that you are on. There are going to be curveballs thrown at you out of the blue. Some you'll expect, some you won't expect. But giving yourself permission to really accept things are not going to be a straight line to the finish. And there is no finish line. So allow yourself to be okay with that. And that any curveball, any, stumbling block can be a stepping stone. Those are where you're going to start igniting, because it's the inspiration and the hope that keeps you striving. There was a point in your life when you said, I want to do this thing. I want to have this career. I want to be my own boss. And going back and tapping into knowing that inspiration and hope is still there. We just sometimes get it buried underneath the day-to-day. But once you know this to be true, then you become excuse me, the navigator of the course. You then have the tools, the knowledge, the understanding, the experience to navigate the course of those curveballs that come up. And the big thing is you have to show up though. If you're not showing up, that's when you can't see beyond those challenges or those obstacles. And I put this one on here, reschedule when necessary, because sometimes you just need a timeout. You just need to say, you know what, today's not the day. I will approach this again tomorrow or the next day. But that to me is one of the biggest fallouts that most people, when they don't give themselves time to reschedule when necessary, that's when we blow it up. That's when it's just one thing right after the other. And that is where we want to draw the line in the sand and say no. So remember what I said at the beginning, being an entrepreneur is hard, but you get to pick your hard. And I know a lot of you, because I've worked with several of you already, I know you get this, because we try the things, and then if it feels too hard, we shift into another gear. But sometimes the hard is still, you have to work through it. So what I have identified as the number one problem is showing up and doing the work. This is where we get scared. This is where we recoil. We put our head in the sand. And if we draw the line in the sand and we get out of our own way, because this is what it is, we created stories. We're saying things like, maybe I'm asking the wrong questions. Maybe I'm setting the wrong targets. Maybe I've got my head in the clouds and I've just built a pipe dream. Maybe every day I'm doing it wrong. Maybe every day I invest, but I never get the results, right? That sounds like some of our conversations we have in our head when we're struggling. But look how I blocked out some of those words and just reframed them. What if I ask the right questions? What could happen for my business? What if I set new targets? What if I keep my head in the game? And each day, what if each little step I'm taking is another step closer? And what if when I invest in myself, I know I'm going to get the results? Because if you're like me, I've invested in a lot of things, whether it's web developers, whether it's free content, whatever it is. I have a laptop full of stuff and I've invested in those things. But the biggest thing is I didn't do the number one thing. I did not show up and I didn't do the work. And that's where I think most of us have to really wake up and say, I've got to show up. I've got to do the work. Because if I don't, I'm going to start doing asking the wrong questions, setting the wrong targets, and keeping my head in this forever believing everything is working out to my highest and best good. I believe that to be true, but I got to believe it coming from a space of I'm showing up and doing the work. So here's the 3 gold nuggets that I'm going to give for you for the presentation. Then we'll open it up for discussion. But the things that I feel are the 3 things that you can walk away from is, first, give yourself permission to talk about the problems. Find that coach, find that mentor, find that group. Find a Facebook group, or Clubhouse is a great place right now because they have space to learn from the experts, from the millionaires and billionaires, but give yourself permission to talk about the problem. No one is going to judge you. They are actually probably going to appreciate it more to know that you have the struggles. When I talked about my addiction to alcohol, that was hard to talk about because I felt like I would be judged in the fact that, oh, she's a former alcoholic. Well, I didn't say I was an alcoholic. I just said I had a drinking problem. You may have thought I was an alcoholic, but I didn't have to do the AA and all of that. I just put it down for 4 years. I mean, I did not drink a drop for 4 years, but the permission to talk about that, it had to be in spaces that I felt comfortable with. But once I found the right tribe and the right people to talk to it about, it was freeing. And then a lot of them matched with the same circumstance. Maybe they were spending money. Maybe they were overeating. Maybe they were in constant turmoil with their health, their spouse. And then the second one is stop taking yourself so damn seriously. I mean, right? You got up today. How? That's amazing. You're awake. You're here. You're living your best life. And if we take it too serious, we miss all of those moments. And that to me was one where I was like that in my probably early 20s. I took things really serious. It was cutthroat. Got to be this way or no way. I was serious. But now I'm playful. I'm fun. I embrace every day. I love being an entrepreneur. I love being in community with others. And I love supporting those who are ready to be supported by a coach on their journey. And then the last one is align with the solution. Stop aligning with the problem. You know the problem all too well. Align with the solution. And if you don't know what that solution is, keep searching for it. But the more you're going to talk about your problems, the more problems you're going to have, the more you're going to see that nothing is being resolved. So if I say, what's the solution? And I don't know what it is, but I'll find it. And I know I can talk about my problems, so someone else might be able to help me align with that solution. So that's the 3 things that I give you for your takeaway. So if you're ready to start embracing the journey of an entrepreneur at the next level, if you're ready to scale, if you're ready to just move up, think about this. Your dreams need to have a strategic plan and a blueprint. It's not one of those things that I like to do, which I no longer am doing, is shooting from the hip and just showing up in my fun, energetic, optimistic self. I still realize I have to have a strategy and I have to have a blueprint. And I've called in those coaches to help me do that. I've invested in myself at the next level and I'm super excited. My new brand, there's a logo of my image. You guys are the first to see this. Melissa Kirkpatrick, the business coach. I'm all about being that lighthouse for you. I want to help you build your lighthouse in the bedrock so you can start projecting yourself out into the future. And when that happens, it's the caterpillar to the butterfly effect, right? We start constructing what it looks like. On the one side, it feels empty, but man, look at the colors on the other side. That's where you want to get. And that's what I'm doing with my clients right now. We have to create the success through a playbook and a strategic plan and have the accountability and have the laser focus and really be in alignment with what it is you're creating for your business, but also how it affects your life. And I've got a little freebie for you here at the bit.ly link at Beautiful Faces Going Places. That's you got to do it all capitals, -freebie, and you are going to get my newest and latest offering around the #1 success thing that you're missing to grow your small business. So I hope you guys will grab a copy of that. And also, if you're wanting to have a conversation with me further, you can schedule in on my calendar as well, which is a Calendly link, and it's at Melissa Kirkpatrick, Business Coach. So I'm super excited, and I hope that there are some nuggets even beyond the ones that I left you with. And I want to just open up the floor now to have conversation or questions or hot seat.
I just want to say, wow, 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 wow. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And I can only think that all of us here today found ourselves somewhere in that presentation. Do you know what I mean? So many, I mean, all of your slides actually spoke to me personally and professionally. So thank you so much for sharing all of that info on the entrepreneurial journey. And I want to say congratulations on your new branding. Your logo looks fabulous and your messaging. So just fantastic. Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. So, all right, share your takeaways and your insights. This is your opportunity for some hot seat coaching. Melissa.
I love the slide where you crossed out the words. That really, it's just kind of taking a different view of things. You know, we have to have this narrow tunnel vision, and sometimes I think we need to shift what we're thinking in our brain, and I think that was a great slide to show how sometimes making that shift can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's like you can't read the label inside the jar. I heard that recently. Like you can't. And so that's the thing. When you're in it, you can't see beyond it. All you hear is the problem, right? You're aligning with that problem. So when you have someone that can have the peripheral vision and align with the solution, and conscious language is that was a game changer for me. And so that's what I really work with others. When they say something, it's like, hear what you're saying, you know, the can'ts and shouldn't and wouldn't and all those things. Is like reframing those, and that can just lead to even more success, because now you're aware that, and if you're around people that's constantly talking like that too, that interferes with your energy and vibrational level as well. So support them by saying, you know, that's great and you should do that, but you're shooting all over the place. If you keep shooting it, what are you going to do to change it? Let's help you with that.
Wow. Changing it over to the positive.
Yeah. The glass half full, as Carol said.
I loved not taking yourself so seriously, because that's this year, or last year I should say, was my big takeaway, because with quarantine and my husband was having some surgery and I needed to stay out of the salon. And I know I had people that were great at running the front desk. I've got a director, a salon director, and but what I really learned is I'm not that important. I don't need to be there. I don't know why I thought I did need to be there, but I really don't. I'm stopped taking myself so seriously. I am not that important to the business. I mean, I showed up and did the work for, 10 years now. It's kind of time that I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I mean, letting go of that control, you know what I mean? That I think you probably maybe felt like, okay, I need to be here and make sure everything's, in control. And, I'm the boss. So that's, I need to be here all the time. And it's hard for some people to do that. I mean, I go to an Episcopal church in Terrace Park, and our rector he has a really hard time not being there. I mean, if he's off, he's like at home waiting to make sure the phone doesn't ring before 8 o'clock. And he says, when we get past 8 o'clock and I know then the church is open, the services started without me and everything's okay. But until then, he's like, and he's had he's been, an Episcopal priest for a long time, never taking a sabbatical, because he could never let go of feeling that need that I need to be here every day, 24/7. So that's hugely, did that feel very freeing, Lisa?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it came out of necessity.
Right.
My husband had spine surgery, so he needed 24/7. You know, he needed help moving his foot to the side, you know, and all this stuff. So it was such a wonderful feeling knowing that I could depend on my team. That
Mhm.
I didn't realize that they were. I hadn't given the opportunity, I guess, to show me what
Yeah.
to do, and it was very empowering for them too.
Yeah. And that they can handle things and it's going to be okay. And you need, I mean, you need to think of yourself too and giving yourself a break. And
Well, I did. Okay, so funny story. Last year, year before last in October, I had taken a long weekend to visit a friend in New York. And Saturday morning, I left on Friday night. Saturday morning, some young girl projectile vomited all over the entire salon on a busy Saturday morning, just like, and then got up and started running to the bathroom and kept the walls and everything. So that's what happened the one time I left. So that made it a little bit scary.
yeah.
Again, I'm not that important. It didn't happen because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Finding your way back, because sometimes those experiences that we have become PTSD, right? You think about, well, that happened the last time, it's going to happen again. And that's, you know, that reframing of everything's in service to us. Everything is a lesson for you to learn from, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. And that's where, when you don't take yourself so seriously and you align with the solution, you can think better. You can actually understand, what's my next best move, my next best step, what's the, you know, best decision moving forward. And you know, that was something that took a while for me to learn. Like in the golf course business, I'll bring that up again, I wanted to bring in every beer that everybody asked for. I mean, whether it was an ale or an IP or whatever, I'm like, we've got to have all that beer. And my husband says, we have the 4 beers. Miller Lite, Bud Light, you know, it's like, but they're not going to golf here because we don't have their beer. You know, it was like all of that whole thing about not really aligning with the solution. But I just kept saying, we don't have it. And he's like, but they'll drink something else. Even Coke versus Pepsi, right? It's like, that's a false statement. People will not drink Pepsi over Coke. I know that to be true. So you had to have both of those. So I debunked that one. But yeah, it's just, we get into that realization or scarcity mindset too. We think, without me, it's not going to do as well with me. And as an entrepreneur, business owner, that's where we have to do that self-care and remove ourselves to rejuvenate, to revitalize ourselves, because otherwise you can only deplete yourself so long. And if we're opting in to eat more, drink more, and burn the candle at both ends, now we're really setting ourselves up for some downfall. Carol, did you have something you were going to add to that?
Oh, I did. And it just really falls in line with not taking ourselves so seriously, and then entrusting in our team. And I just know Lisa and the phenomenal business that she has created at Lunatic Fringe Salon, based on culture and that team culture. So Lisa, you are in just the prime position to, you know, hand over a day at the salon or a weekend or a week, because you've built that from the ground up, your team culture. I've seen it in your salon, and seen how you've worked with your team and created that culture of respect and teamwork. So you are just prime, and it's a matter of just letting go, right? And believing in our team.
Well, thank you for saying that, Carol. That's nice.
But Lisa, how long did it take? Because, you know, the overnight success we know take 5 to 10 years. So where you aligned with a solution, but what was the actual problem? What did you see?
We always say that it took us 7 years to be an overnight success. So 7 years before we really, but the problem, why I wasn't letting go as much, I had this ridiculous, there wasn't really a problem, but I had this, so there's a restaurant next door to us, and we would go there, and I know the owner, and if he wasn't there, I just felt like it wasn't the same place. And I was afraid that was going to happen in the salon. like if I wasn't there, they would say, oh, people were asking about you, and I'd be, oh my gosh, I can't be away then, it's different when the owner's not there, and that's stupid. And it was me taking myself way too seriously. And I was the problem.
Yeah, that's good. I can relate to that as well. When I finally got managers to run the golf course and delegate, my sons would say, they're always asking where you're at, Mom. How come and I'm like, well, that means I did the right thing, but I've got people that can do what I did, so it's all good. Yeah, but it's hard sometimes to delegate. I want to ask you, Amy, because Amy, I know you've been through a couple of different style companies with your brand. Amy is a stylist. Tell us about that, because I think that's going to be in service, because it's just a sudden, the curveball, it was like right in your face, right? The snowball smacked you right.
I've had several of those, but I always say they quit me. I didn't quit them.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to stay true to myself. I mean, as each one closed, because I started with Jockey Person to Person, they closed, and I moved to Ava Gray, and they closed, and then Nygaard was the most recent one, and they closed. But I just felt like, okay, this is still what I want to do. This is what I love doing. I feel like I'm best at doing this versus offering other products. Because every time people would reach out, go, oh, we're sorry, the company closed, do you want to offer skincare, or do you want to be on my team and sell jewelry? And I'm just like, I just can't. I have to love what I'm offering, and those other products, I just said I'm not comfortable. I'm just not jumping up and down about doing that. So every time I've just looked for another clothing company, deciding, okay, let's just find another clothing company, because that's what you want to do. And so far I've found one, every time within a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, and each one has been a learning experience, and offered new ways to work my brain, because I'm at the age where I'm just not ready to sit at home and do nothing. So my why is not necessarily monetary. It's, I want something to do. I want it to be fun. I want it to be flexible. And if it's not those things, then I'm probably not going to do it. So it's worked, it's worked out well. The last company I was with is a little bit different, just trying to, because it was horrible circumstances. And it was, in the New York Times, and it was on CNN, and some people knew about it.
They have a Netflix thing on it now. There's a Netflix series on it, or not series, but episode.
And my daughter texted me 2 mornings ago. She goes, wow, look what popped up in my podcast menu today. And it's a podcast all about Peter Nygaard and why it took so long to catch him. And so that, had, that was a different kind of closing for me. And, I think we, as stylists, we're very disappointed in him. This man who had been very successful, had a bit, fashion business for over 50 years. And, now he was finally arrested last month for trafficking. So it's a horrible story, and fall from grace for him, because of personal decisions that he made. So, yeah, so that was a learning experience.
I just have to pop in and say, I've watched a lot of that, Amy, from back in and you too probably, Carol, back in our old eWomen days. I found some pictures from some of those luncheons that we were at recently, sent Carol one. And you have bounced back beautifully every time. And everything you just said is so obvious. I can't see you selling Tupperware, for example.
No. And once I tried selling jewelry, and I just felt like, okay, this is sparkly. It'll look nice with black. This is pretty. It'll look nice with black. This is pretty. This will look nice with black. Oh, here's a long one. This will look nice. And I just couldn't.
But you built a niche for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody else that does what you do. I mean, I don't think I've ever run into anybody else anywhere. So kudos to you. And you've been resilient.
That's the word.
And you do make it fun, and you bounce back in great ways. So kudos to you.
I'm having a one-to-one with her on Friday, and I cannot wait now.
Oh, yeah. With their clothes? With the clothes?
Yeah, it's been interesting. And I think also when I started on this fashion journey, I left a job that was not serving me. And I think we all need to make those decisions too. I'd been a hygienist for 20 years. I love the people I worked with. I love my patients. It was perfect hours. I made my own, he let me make my own schedule. It was wonderful. But then he sold the practice and the new guy comes in and it's after 6 weeks. I told my husband, I'm not going to make it with him. I'm gonna give 2 weeks notice. And he looked at me and said, get your stuff today at lunch, put it in the car, give him the keys to the office today, tell him you're never coming back. And I was like, so don't even give notice? He goes, no, do not. Just leave today. And
How freeing was that?
I was scared. I mean, I still remember the family I had that day, a woman and 3 of her kids who I'd seen, over the years. And the whole time I'm cleaning people's teeth that day, I'm like, oh my gosh, today after work, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell him I'm never coming back. That's all I could think about all day long. And I told him, my coworkers he was here, my coworkers were behind me and they're looking at me. And I just walked out. As soon as I hit the car, I burst out crying. And I cried all the way home. My daughter texted me and said, I'm so proud of you, because last time I cleaned her teeth with him, she goes, he's a jerk. How old is he? And she was in college. And so sometimes you have to say, you know what, this is not right. And we all quit within a period of time. I don't even know what he's doing. Good dental skills, but not a relationship person.
Yeah. So Jana, let's hear from you. You took the time to come into the meeting. We're so happy that you're here. You're a Rodan and Fields rep, which I just love. So is Carol, and I don't know if others use the product or not. So what's been like your challenge that you feel taking on? I know you left teaching, you have a family of 4, doing all the things. So, and you've overcome, I think, some challenges, but what's been your biggest
I
thing?
have overcome some things, and I'm still working on overcoming some things. So like what it was speaking to me with what you shared today was, I think, just the power of getting other perspective on your situation and your story, because sometimes they're seeing things that you aren't seeing, or they see you in a totally different way. Like for me, it's definitely my inner critic. Like that's my huge holdup, like, because I've got this voice always telling me I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I still hear the junior high voice in my head that you're not cool enough. Like that's literally something I still hear. And it's like a pretty loud voice in my head. So that's like my biggest holdup. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of work on that. I know, Melissa, you and I have had some conversations to that end before, and you gave me some good perspective on that. I was just talking with a friend yesterday, and we were doing a Bible study together, and I said, here's something like I feel like I'm not good at, that I've been praying about. And she looked at me and she's like, I think you're good at that. Think about this and this and this. Like, and she was telling me examples that I just hadn't thought of, and I was like, I guess you're right. I hadn't looked at that way. So just like I said, like the importance of getting another person's take on it, and maybe someone from outside your business, like, because they have a different perspective, and may see things differently. That's been a huge thing for me. And one other small example I'll tell you is just that we had a friend's family move in with us for a couple years ago, and there's 7 of them anyway. So, and there's 6 of us. So I was a little busy for a little while. And one morning I looked at her and I said, I'm trying to channel my inner Michelle here, because she just always seemed cool and calm, and to be able to take things like not so seriously. And she just like stopped what she was doing and stared at me, and she's like, I try to channel my inner Jana all the time, like for this and that, and here we are both trying to be each other, and not seeing our own strengths, I guess, in the same way. So that's kind of been some of the things I've been working on lately.
Well, it definitely is noticeable, and thank you for sharing that with us, because I just have seen your level of confidence and your appearance on social media, and just how you've been great, for service. And even with my situation, I panicked the other day because something went on sale, and I'm like, I just bought it. She's like, no, you saved more money than that sale. I was like, phew, man. Yeah, because I was like putting it off, thinking, well, I'll wait because I know they're going to have a sale on something, and I'll just wait. And then it was like, what? But she calmed me down. She was very good with that. So, but thank you for sharing. What about the others, Mary, or is it Piper? How do you say it? Piva?
Ivy.
Pivy. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest challenge that I had last year was my divorce. So, like with my NLP class, my practitioner, now I'm starting my master's. So, lots of doing with the little thingies over here, and well, it's a lot of work. And I really like your slides that like all the bullet points over there. It's just something to take with me, like just have the inner strength, kind of a listening your gut. That's kind of the thing that I'm like really focusing, just listening myself, my gut, because it knows a lot of things, and just need to calm down, silence everything, and just listen. And that actually works. I've seen it like in couple of, like in the past 2 months, like in the, like after the New Year's, I've done that like every single day. It works. Yeah.
It does. You're right. I had a coach that used to always tell me, get on your butt and listen. I'm like, I don't have time to get on my butt and I don't want to listen. And then I did it and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty powerful. Like it takes you a minute, but you start figuring it out. And I think that's it too, when, like we were saying, how I was saying, if other people are giving you all the, recommendations and advice, it can be overwhelming. It's getting quiet and sifting through what makes sense. Everybody's going to tell you the best way to do social media. You just have to decide which one works for you. Somebody might post every hour. I don't have time for that. Someone might post once a week. Well, I want to do more than that. Like just making sure that you align yourself, but that inner voice, and Jana's is a critic, so she's got the inner critic, but there's another guy in there too that's the inner supporter that's going to help you get past that. And it's what voice you let speak louder is really, where I think a lot of us forget that we do know things. We're smart. We've survived our worst days, right? We're here right now. We've survived everything. Our worst days are behind us. It's just like knowing that, believing that, and trusting that, and there'll probably be other days that aren't going to be as good, but it's just knowing that everything is within you. It really is. And, playing the game of life, playing the game of business is about you strategically, as in the chess, making those moves according to where your vision for your goals and your desires are. And that, to me, I didn't have buying golf courses on my radar at all. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me and my family, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, sometimes we miss opportunities because we close it off, of not really giving ourselves permission to have the conversations, to make the connections, to have the introductions. And that, to me, is another way that we have to realize that we're all champions together and not necessarily in competition of what it feels like. There can be 20 Rodan and Fields people standing in this room right now, and I'm going to gravitate to one or two of them, and that's what I think sometimes even coaching, people always say, aren't there too many coaches? No, because everybody hasn't hired one yet. If everybody would hire one, that's the thing. We all need that coaching, that support. And it's just really about the energy and what you bring and what your message is. And so I think that's another big nugget, right? Of just aligning with that.
Absolutely. I'm just so happy that you shared that, Melissa. I was thinking of my takeaways because I'm a vigorous note taker and I took lots of notes here, but I loved what you talked about your business and life coaching and how you combine both of those elements. But in terms of, number one, comparing yourself to others. And I always say, put your blinders on. Run your own race and just do what you do. Share your value and your experiences and deliver, like create your programs, deliver them and over deliver them, and not worry about what everyone else is doing. And I know as I created this platform, I had this vision over 4 years ago of creating an online chamber of commerce for women in business. And I struggled for 2 years with the how. And finally, and then as we've been growing and building momentum, and now I see it coming to life. It's just an amazing entrepreneurial journey. But I have had several, coaches say, oh, well, you already have a mindset coach, or you already have a speaker coach. And I'm like, you know what? But there's only one of you. And you're absolutely right. When people hear, who you are, what you do, the problem that you solve, they hear your voice, they're going to gravitate towards you. So I'm like, you know what? There are 7+ billion people in the world. Hello.
Yes.
There is no competition. Just do you, be you, get it out there in the world and help others and serve. So I'm so happy that you had mentioned that and that top three, and that's kind of my big takeaway for today, and how this really is a journey. And I want to share this because as I think about being a small business owner and entrepreneur, it is hard. as you stated, it is hard. But I think about all of us, and I really want to learn more about each and every one of you, because we all have just amazing backgrounds that brought us to where we are today. And I think about my history from starting out in retail sales in high school, and even throughout college. I wanted to be a retail buyer, and minored in fashion merchandising. And then I went into selling electrical supplies for 3 years. And I really don't give a hootie tootie fruity about wire, cable, connectors. But you know what? I was selling electrical wholesale supplies. And then went into becoming a Russian art dealer, to an adjunct professor at the American University of Rome in Italy, to becoming a real estate agent for 7 years in Oxford, Ohio, to becoming a chamber executive for 4 years, and then now the CEO and founder of beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. So it is a journey. I mean, it's really a journey. And I just want to encourage each and every one of you to keep having that passion and moving forward and being resilient, as Amy Elberfeld has demonstrated to us and sharing her story. But it's a journey, Melissa, and I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today and inspiring us all to keep going and overcoming all of those fears and obstacles and challenges, because we're not alone, that's for sure. And we still have some time. I'd love to open up the floor. If you have any questions or you want to share your insights or some hot seat coaching with Melissa, this is your opportunity.
I still think Carol needs to do a conversation about the Russian art dealer. Is that what you said?
Yes.
She said that the other day in our interview, and I was like, what was that one?
I know. Yes.
It doesn't sound legal. It sounds like you were doing something shady.
I know it sounds that way, but it really wasn't. I have a passion for art and history, culture, and antiques, and followed my passion at that time. I was in the right place at the right time, and started visiting artists in Russia, and then the next thing you know, people are asking me, hey, I don't speak Russian, can you get me in to see this Russian artist? And the next thing you know, I'm scheduling appointments to show artists in Russia, and the next thing you know, I'm a Russian art dealer. So it just kind of evolved as you're sharing your interest, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's how that happened.
So cool.
Now I have loads of paintings, and I always thought, oh, I'm gonna open up an art gallery someday. But right now I'm on a mission. Beautiful Faces Going Places. We're growing, and we're going to impact women around the world, and this is amazing. So thank you so much, Melissa.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, grab your copy of that free download that I just put together, and my website's not up yet. I'm working with Darla Kirshner with StoryBrand. She helped me go through this whole process, which was phenomenal. Again, investing in yourself when it's time to move up. You find those right coaches. I have another high-end coach that I'm working with, which is Glam, Go Live and Monetize, which is really exciting. She has just been she says, I have a smorgasbord of resources, but you don't have to eat everything on the smorgasbord. And I'm like, you do not know me. I'm trying to eat everything. And I'm finding like she's helping me to pace myself, because there's just so much goodness. But I know everything that I'm doing right now is helping those entrepreneurs, business owners who are in that state of just needing to scale up, or just really getting, take hold of your business, that you just feel like you're chasing your tail. And that's what I'm getting the results. Last year, some of my clients reached their 6-figure marks. They're already hiring staff underneath them. They're leaving their 9-to-5s to do what they really are passionate and purpose. And then for myself, growing my business and, hitting those 5K months now. And it's just like, okay, it's time to shine. And so the lighthouse and the butterfly are two symbols that mean a lot to me. And as we dug deeper, Darla got me to Darla designed that all off of our conversation. It was freaking amazing. She actually wound up going to North Carolina for 3 weeks as a vacation or work vacation. And that's where she actually got the inspiration to come up with that. And the inside of the butterfly is the lighthouse, if you look at it closely. So
that's
it's
fantastic.
really,
yeah. Darla Kirchner is amazing, isn't she? Yeah.
Has your branding actually changed, or is it not Find Your Own Drive? No.
I'm dropping that. That's going to be one of the programs underneath under that, but it's the Melissa Kirkpatrick Business Coach. And, but life is a byproduct of that too. But yeah, it's just, I haven't dropped it yet because we're still finalizing the website, but today I just felt inspired to go ahead and give some of you that were here to see what that logo and imaging and coloring and branding and all is about. So
I love it.
yeah, thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank
You know what? We have a couple of minutes. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carolyn.
No, I just said it's fun to watch it grow and hear the story.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, it's there's more of a story behind it, but it's just like, for me, it just was so fulfilling. And then to just even have someone capture what my mind could not have created that. Like, that wasn't anywhere near. But this my friend brought me that cup with the butterfly on it when my mother-in-law just passed away about a month ago. And so there was a cup that went in that. And when I was at my mother-in-law's house in a cabinet, I found this beautiful lighthouse candle. So I'm just like, now I see lighthouses and butterflies everywhere. I saw them before, but now it's like, but my lighthouse story is my dad, when he passed, I was actually in St. Augustine in the lighthouse.
Wow.
And on the way down, I got notification that he was leaving, and I thought I was going to go home and see him, and I didn't. So the lighthouse is my dad, the beacon of light there. So there's a lot of connection to it, but I know that this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing for others to help them align their spirit, their soul, their big dreams in life. So if I can do that, that's what I'm doing.
That's fantastic, Melissa. Thank you so much for an amazing Lunch and Learn networking event. I just want to say thank you, Lisa, Amy, Pivy, Melissa, Carolyn. I know we had Jana on here as well, and just want to say, and Marianne Chadbourne, thank you all for joining us today. This has been just an enlightenment for me as well, and just so appreciate each and every one of you. If you don't mind, I would love for us to just go around the room real quick and just state your name and your company and who you serve, and then we'll wrap it up with Melissa, if that's okay with you. All right, I'm going to pass the baton over to Lisa.
Lisa Gear, Lunatic Fringe Salon in Liberty Township, so serving the Butler County area.
All right, Amy.
I have a passion for fashion, eye for style. I am currently styling women in Storyline Collection fashions. I help take the stress out of getting dressed by styling women in comfortable, easy fashion pieces that all mix and match. And I brand myself as Styling with Amy.
And Pivy.
I really love Arctic Nutrition, finished wild food with a cutting edge technology with all of our magical berries.
And Carolyn.
I'm Carolyn Russ, and my new brand is Vitality, Hunger for Health. That kind of came about as I entered a new decade and wanted to just inspire people to believe that everybody, every age, from birth to the other end, can have full vitality if they just eat enough fruits and vegetables. And I have the solution about how to get them in them.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm Carol Dockum, the CEO and founder of Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. And I'm going to pass the baton to Melissa for closing remarks. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly Lunch and Learn networking event.
Ladies, I just have to say thank you for allowing me to be present with you, to share the information that I had to share with you as a business entrepreneur, success person, someone who's been on the training ground. I just really admire business owners, and I know the struggle is real and it's hard, but if you can focus and prioritize and get the support you need, you can definitely grow your business and scale it into the best business in life that you deserve. Doesn't mean you're going to do it forever, but do it as long as it fills your heart and your soul. And if there's anything I can do, please reach out to me, because it's about love and service for me from this point forward. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.